Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on Arrow Season 5, and this is going to be my review for episode 22, the second last episode, the penultimate episode for Season 5, otherwise entitled Missing. So obviously before we go ahead, there will be spoilers within this video for this episode, and there's a decent amount of stuff to talk about, so be sure to have watched the episode before you continue on with the rest of this video. But obviously last episode we saw what we, at least what Team Arrow was thinking was the takedown of Prometheus. They had, captured Adrian Chase, put him in Argus, and, they were like, okay, we've solved it, we've fixed it, we've saved the season 2 episodes early, let's go on an early holiday. And that's the issue. There was a bit of complacency, if you want to call it that, in Team Arrow. Apart from Oliver, but everyone else is like, oh, we solved it, it's all done. Not really preparing for what Adrian Chase could be doing, and I found it a bit weird that all the characters apart from Oliver really were that complacent, because they should have learned throughout this season that this Adrian Chase character was like 10 steps ahead. It's almost like they forgot that Talia al Ghul existed, that Artemis existed. Like, those two people could still be doing stuff on the outside for Adrian. Talia al Ghul's got all those acolytes, so I found it a bit weird that everyone was so complacent. It was just a bit odd. But obviously it was Oliver's birthday. Actually, it is Oliver's birthday. Oliver Queen is May 16th. I think that's his birthday. So it made sense that they had a birthday party for him. If anyone is on Twitter and knows of Lord Mesa, he does artwork and stuff, and they have an actual shout out for him in this episode. They call it Lord Mesa's Bakery, I think it was. And the artwork on the cake was artwork of his. So I thought that was pretty cool. For a dude that does a lot of work in regards to artwork. And if you're on Twitter, you've probably seen a lot of it before. Now, if there was anyone questioning about Lila being in Chicago, if you watched yesterday's episode of The Flash, Lila was a decent part of it involving Argus. Now, Arrow is a week behind the Flash in the timeline. So The Flash yesterday was around May 23rd, May 24th, around then, maybe May 22nd for a bit of it. Arrow is currently on the 16th or the 17th, so basically a week before. So that's why Lila was on the Flash, because in this timeline she would have come back from Chicago and would be, back at work at Argus on the day that the Flash was on. So if anyone was questioning why Lila was away at Chicago but on the Flash yesterday, that's why. It's because Flash and Arrow aren't synced at the moment. They're on different weeks in the timeline. So as the title of the episode does suggest, it's called Missing. So some people went missing, and the first of those people to go missing was Curtis and Dinah. Well, Dinah was first, and then Curtis was next. We didn't actually even see Dinah in the episode at all, not even at the end. So she's obviously somewhere else. And I haven't seen the trailer for next episode. We might get a clue in there, but I'll have to wait next episode to see where she exactly is. Now, going into this episode, it actually wasn't in the promo, but if you'd read the synopsis for this episode or even some of the promo pictures, we knew that Black Siren was back and she escapes Argus. No real, I don't think they actually explained how she got out of Argus. It was a bit weird, so I don't know if Talia al Ghul's acolytes and stuff freed her, or it was just maybe something happened there, but she managed to escape. And she confronts Thea and Quentin, and Artemis joins along later. Now, it was very interesting seeing Quentin meet her. Some people might have forgotten, but in the episode that Black Siren was in, or the 2 episodes, or the 1 episode, sorry, might I say, early this season, Thea did know that Laurel was back, and then must have found out later on that it was an Earth 2 version of Laurel and not the real one. Quentin, however, had no idea, and this might be something that follows on next episode, where Quentin might be a bit annoyed that he didn't know about her, but it was interesting to see some of their interactions, but we'll talk about that later on. We obviously did see Malcolm Merlyn returning, and I thought that was pretty cool to see him come back. I do think John Barrowman is a good actor, and it has been a bit random that he hasn't been in any episode of Arrow at all this season. This is the first episode of Arrow he's been in this season, if you exclude the crossover episode where, it's in that alternate Dominator reality. So this is actually the first episode he's been in this season for Arrow, which is actually really weird if you think about it, seeing that he's, in the other seasons he's been a decent part of it. And if you didn't know, John Barrowman did say that Malcolm Merlyn isn't going to be in any of the shows next year. So I don't know if that means that he's going to face a not very good fate in the finale of this season, but we'll have to wait and see. But even then, it was still cool to see him come back. Now, obviously, I've been mentioning Talia's acolytes, and we actually finally do see them in this episode. They could have been doing stuff in the background this whole episode. We actually finally see them when they capture Felicity and Diggle, and I'm surprised that not Felicity or Diggle was more injured by that car crash. They had a pretty heavy crash. They slammed into a shipping container and then fell upside down on the floor. So I'm surprised they got up so easily. Like, you would think some concussion might have played a part in that crash. Now, obviously, I did talk about Black Siren and Quentin's, interactions this episode, and the one where, Black Siren's putting Quentin in that other shipping container just to sort of keep him safe. Well, they were shipping him off, weren't they? But as to keep him a bit safer. You could actually see Black Siren's emotions, and you sort of get a hint at where she's going to be going, because if you didn't know already, she's going to be in this episode, obviously, and next episode, once again, obviously, but she's also going to be in season 6 as a regular. So she's coming back next season, and one of the big things and one of the most likely things to happen is that she's going to have a redemption arc and become more of a good character. I guess you could argue sort of like a Captain Cold, where he was sort of evil, if you want to call it that, and then went down an arc where he, gained some morals, and we might see that with Black Siren, but to a greater extent, where she will be more good than evil. And Quentin could play a massive part in that, with just his involvement, because we will get some more Black Siren backstory. We've had a tiny bit, but not a lot. And they might do a bit of that in the finale, but I think that's where they'll leave season 6, and it's actually smart if they leave it for season 6, because it gives them a storyline to go along and fill content on the show. Because flashbacks won't be a big part in season 6. It'll be flashbacks to previous seasons or little things we didn't see. So they do need things to fill in, like the space on the show that is interesting. And I think a lot of people are very, very interested to see like Black Siren's backstory and what like the Earth 2 versions of the people that we know on Arrow are like, and how she interacted with them and what happened to them and stuff like that. Now, I don't think many people were surprised. I was not surprised in the slightest about the video call that Oliver received that Prometheus or Adrian Chase sort of predicted that he was going to get. And it's, of course, William. You couldn't really see where he was. Was he in like the prison that Oliver was in the flashbacks, which we'll talk about towards the end of the video? Was he in one of those things, like the Chinese prisons? You couldn't really tell. The lighting was pretty crap, but yeah. We knew that Adrian most likely had William, and Oliver was being a bit smug, saying, oh, he's probably not got him, and Felicity was even supporting that, even though Oliver was a bit wary of Adrian possibly getting William. But yeah, I wasn't very surprised that was the video call. But William obviously does come into play later when Oliver and Malcolm team up, which I thought was really cool to see them teaming up to actually go get Adrian Chase. Little, if you noticed, Oliver was using like one of Malcolm Merlyn's bows, like one of the League of Assassin bows. He wasn't using his normal Green Arrow one, which I thought was it's just something I noticed. But we find out that William was involved because Adrian, I don't think, really had William on his in his plans. Like if he had like a notebook, oh, what am I doing? Who am I kidnapping and stuff? Like earlier on in the season, William wouldn't have been on there, but William was involved due to Oliver involving Adrian's wife. Like, Adrian's wife didn't need to be involved. If you remember back to when Adrian had to kill his wife, she wasn't meant to be involved, but Oliver involved her and it ended up in her death. And now Adrian's sort of repaying the favor to Oliver by involving William. So it's going to be interesting to see where that goes. Will Adrian kill William? It'd be a bit like, it'd be a bit risky for the show to kill a child. But even though William's like, he does seem like almost like in his teens. So we'll have to see what happens there. But that's why William was involved. Because I think a lot of us might have been questioning how Adrian knew of him. Why did he go to that great extent to get him when there's other people that Adrian could harm that would affect Oliver's life? One thing we knew was coming. I didn't think we'd get it in this episode. I thought it would be in the finale, but we got it towards the end, and that was Nyssa Al Ghul returning, which was pretty cool. But one of the funniest things in this part was Malcolm's reaction. He was just like, who did you get? Who did you get? And I think he was like slowly realizing who was going to come out that door, out the elevator and stuff like that. I just thought it was really funny. But one thing I thought was surprising is that Nyssa wasn't aware of Talia's involvement. I thought Oliver would have said that, but we know there's going to be some conflict between them. In the comics, it's really Talia hates Nyssa because like Nyssa is like the older child of Talia and like tortures Talia Al Ghul and stuff like that, like constantly kills her and puts her back in the Lazarus pit. That might have been one storyline, or it might be like canon, like that's the actual backstory to them. But so Nyssa's sort of the bad one out of the two, but in this case, Talia is the bad one, so it's going to be interesting to see their conflict in the finale, and it's probably one of the things I'm looking forward to the most. Now, one of the least surprising things, obviously because we'd seen a lot of the sizzle reel and even some photos and stuff, is that Chase is going to Lian Yu with everyone, and obviously he learned this through Talia Al Ghul. Even Nyssa Al Ghul says that like her father told her about this place, and that's where she found Sarah, which is obvious. I think even Sarah said that in season 2, that she was picked up by the League of Assassins and stuff like that. But it's cool that everything's sort of coming full circle with all of this Lian Yu stuff. And of course, when we're on Lian Yu, like Oliver's got Malcolm Merlyn, he's got Nyssa Al Ghul, he's got 3 people there. But is that enough to take down Adrian Chase with like Artemis, Black Siren, and Talia al Ghul and all of her acolytes? No, we're going to need some more, and that's when we get Oliver going into the Argus bunker prison, and we get Deathstroke, and we actually see Manu Bennett as Slade Wilson. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff on Twitter about whether he was actually going to be in there, whether he was just recording his voice. I knew pretty early on, like, it's obviously they were going to put him in here. He wouldn't have flown to Vancouver and stuff like that just to record a voice. Like, they actually, I don't even think they even do that in Vancouver. They do that in, like, LA and stuff. That's where their recording studios are. So, we knew he would be back. This is awesome to see. And he's even got, like, a bit of a beard going on and stuff like that. He's got different clothes. I was excited seeing him, and we also will have Captain Boomerang. So I'm assuming like right at the beginning of next episode, we'll see Oliver walk over to Captain Boomerang's cell as well and give him his equipment, and that was exciting. But obviously I did like allude to the flashbacks. In the flashbacks we had Konstantin Kovar with Oliver and like injecting him with a drug. So I don't know if Konstantin Kovar's just gone or he's going to be in next episode. I really don't know if he just sort of left Oliver there to die or if he's still on the island and Oliver might be able to go and get him, because if Konstantin Kovar is still alive, does that mean he could come into play in season 6? We'll have to wait and see what happens in this last episode of the flashbacks, because there's still a lot of things to answer in regards to that. But we saw Oliver have visions of basically all of his torturing, and then we see Yao Fei appear. Awesome to have him back, but convincing him essentially to kill himself, which was tough. I thought Stephen Amell was really good in this episode in regards to his acting, mainly in the flashbacks. In the flashbacks I thought he was really, really good. But we actually see Laurel Lance arrive, and she actually saves him. And it's like Laurel from like season 1 with like the dark brunette hair. So she arrives and convinces Ollie to keep himself alive due to the ones that love him back home in what was then known Starling City. So I think they actually are really, really wrapping up this well this season, especially the flashbacks. So some people were really happy about Oliver getting like the fake beard and stuff to put on when he gets saved, but I'm fine with that. I really don't care too much about that. I don't really care about if he had real beards or like really long hair, if that makes sense. And even in the present day, I think they are really wrapping up this season pretty damn well. I'm very interested to see what happens in the finale, because I just think it's going to be one massive battle. I cannot wait to watch the promo for next episode and just, you know, we'll break it down. I'll upload it at normal time as I usually do with my trailer breakdowns. But overall, I thought this was a really strong episode. The only thing I really had an issue with was the fact that Team Arrow was so complacent. I was like, why are they so complacent? Like, there's still Talia al Ghul out there. There's still Artemis. Surely they know of them too. Why were they so complacent? It just makes no sense to me. It just seems like just writing to make it easier for them to be captured. But that's my only negative with the episode. I know a lot of people are going to bring up the Olicity stuff, but I'm just going to wait until what happens next episode, because that's really going to like tie a bow on what's going on with that, because it was just weird watching in this episode. It was just a bit cringy, to be completely honest. We'll have to wait and see what happens next episode with that Olicity stuff, but I'm not going to panic at the moment with it. Wait till the finale to see what happens there, because they might just completely ignore it next episode and leave it as something for season 6, and they're just sort of like, you know, hinting at it right now. But yeah, I'm not going to talk about it right now. But thanks for watching, guys. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like on it. It'd be awesome if you could. Let me know in the comments section down below what was your favourite part of the episode. Are you looking forward to the finale with that big fight between Team Oliver, or like Team Arrow 7.0, if you want to call it that, versus Team Prometheus? Just let me know about all of that in the comments section down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.